This is WXPN General Manager Roger LaMay, and I'm joined by our Chief Engineer, Jared Stiles. Jared, we've been telling our listeners about our urgent need to replace our Philadelphia antenna based in Roxborough. It may seem kind of obvious, but what does an antenna do?
Sure. Well, without getting too technical, an antenna takes a signal provided by a transmitter and sends it out to the listeners. If you want to get a little more nerdy about it, an antenna turns electrical signals into radio waves so they can travel sometimes thousands of kilometers around the Earth or even into space and back.
And why do we need to replace it?
There are a handful of reasons, but mostly we want to continue broadcasting the strong, clear, and reliable signal our listeners have come to expect from WXPN, and also make some improvements at the same time. It's a 21-year-old antenna, and it's a lot like having a 21-year-old car. It can break down at any time.
I get the car comparison, but is 21 old for an antenna?
Well, it can be, and in our case, it is. There isn't anything in the rule book that says antenna replacement should happen once an antenna is X years old. Many factors, including climate, ice damage, lightning damage, pollution, high winds, RF input power level, design, and build quality, all determine the life expectancy of an antenna. These same factors also affect the transmission line, which carries the FM signal to the antenna. In early 2010, we had both the antenna and transmission line inspected, and the results were that, although functional, this equipment has outlived its useful life.
Outlived its useful life. That sounds like a euphemism for replace it quick. Beyond the much-needed dependability of a new transmission line and antenna, are there any other advantages to the listener for a new antenna?
Absolutely. WXPN's current antenna is mounted on the southeast side of a 10-foot wide tower face, hindering our signal to the northwest. This new antenna would be mounted 200 feet higher on a pole at the very top of the tower, eliminating the currently shaded area to the northwest and generally providing better line-of-sight coverage to our entire broadcast area.
Beyond the compelling reason that the transmission line or the antenna could fail at any time, why have you asked to start the work right away?
Well, every winter, the antenna sustains more damage and is more likely to fail. Ice and high winds, paired with the narrow bandwidth of the bays on our antenna, cause our transmitter to operate at low power during ice storms. Besides the possibility of permanent damage to the antenna, transmission line, and transmitter during these periods of antenna icing, operating at low power takes WXPN away from some of our listeners. With all the improvements in antenna technology over the last 21 years, this new antenna will better handle both wind and ice.
Sounds good. But will we have to go off the air while we do this work?
Nope. There will be short periods of low power transmission while the tower crews safely climb through our current antenna, but we will stay on the air.
What will happen to the old antenna?
The old antenna will be repurposed as an emergency backup antenna. This is very important in the event of an emergency failure of the main antenna and a level of security we here at WXPN have never had in the past. So yes, it's more than just a better night's sleep for me.
That sounds pretty important. Have you pushed your boss on this?
I have, and he said as soon as we raise the money, we can do it.
That's right. Thank you, Jared. Hopefully we'll be giving you the go-ahead within a few weeks.